guys, Zoe here. Welcome back to another video. This is another Total Drama What If. If you guys couldn't tell, I'm doing What If Total Drama Island was boys vs girls. I saw someone else do this, I forgot who, but if I find them, I'll link them in the description, as well as all the other creators who inspired me to do What Ifs on this channel. So, like I've been doing, so yeah. I'm just gonna do this What If now. I'm gonna jump straight into it. Okay, so the first challenge. Now, on Manly Gophers, only DJ didn't jump, but on Womanly Bass, neither Beth nor Courtney jumped. Now, Courtney arguably might jump if she calculates better. But I don't know if I don't know if she'd see her team. I don't know if she'd see her team as having worse odds of jumping, and that's kind of sexist if she does all of a sudden see her team as worse odds. So we're gonna say Courtney supports women and loves women, so we're not gonna put that in her character for this season because I don't think she hates women like this guy over here does. But yeah, so I'm just gonna say that Beth and Courtney do not jump. And unlike Revenge of the Island, where it's pretty given who will win based on the fact that in Revenge of the Island, and I think the other seasons onwards, from what I remember, what will happen is it'll literally be the team that wins the advantage in the first part of the challenge is going to lose the overall challenge and put someone up for elimination. But in Island, and they do that, I think, to make it unexpected, but it kind of becomes expected after a while. And I don't think in Island they would do that. So, I think that Manly Gophers are going to take the dub this first challenge. Now, Womanly Bass. I genuinely feel like Courtney is going to be seen as a more worthy opponent than Beth. Like, I think Eva's going to vouch for Courtney over Beth, and I feel like Heather would too, because Courtney's a lot better in challenges than Beth, and I think that would be kind of obvious that Beth is the weakest link out of the two. So while they get bottom two, Courtney and Beth, I think that Beth would go home and get 22nd place. So, next challenge, Big Sleep. I don't really feel like there's as much interactions in this and Big Sleep compared to the other episodes, though. So them being on different teams doesn't really matter as much. Like, Gwen and Trent might still have that conversation. Although, I'm gonna tell you guys my plan for this season now, then. I'm gonna just... Now, because there's no gay ships, this series didn't have that yet. They weren't very... Total Drama was not a gay ally series yet. Until the first season. So I really don't think that they would... So in the canon show, they really didn't have... It was really hard. These ships being on separate teams makes it kind of hard. The only ship I think will still happen is Lindsay and Tyler, because they were in separate teams anyways. I'm planning for a new ship in the series to take over. Now, I'm thinking for this season, what I'm going to have happen is because Duncan and Courtney and Gwen and Trent are in different teams, I think Gwen and Courtney as a ship could give the same vibe that Duncan and Courtney were giving. Like, they could do the same, they could fulfill the same purpose. So, plus me being a huge Courtney shipper later on, I'm gonna make them the ship, they're gonna be the ship of this season. So Gwen and Courtney are going to be enemies to lovers in this season, basically, is the plan. And, yeah, that's the plan, for them to be enemies to lovers, and I think that Gwen would win Ace's challenge for a team, and I think Gwen would win, it would be Gwen versus Duncan for the end, and then Duncan would fall asleep, and Courtney would be like, wow, I really don't like you, Gwen, but that was impressive, because Courtney's really competitive, and she'd be kind of, Courtney would be impressed by Gwen, and Gwen would be like, aw, that's so sweet, but I hate you, still, and yeah. I think that because the Womanly Bass won this challenge. Who are they booting, though? This is tough. I think, honestly, that Duncan hates Harold and has been bullying him. DJ, and he's got DJ and Jeff, so I feel like that they're gonna make an alliance to vote Harold. Because while Harold shows his stuff and shows his skills later on, he hasn't been able to do that yet by this episode, and all the team is just picking on him and just is being mean to him. So I think, honestly, Harold would get second boot and get 21st place. Unfortunate, but there we go. Harold is gone. Okay, Dodgebrawl. This is a tough challenge to decide. I think that the boys overall, this is not me trying to be sexist, I'm a woman, but it's I do feel like Duncan was good at this challenge, Owen was good at this challenge. This team only has really one weak link, and it's Tyler. Well, this season has several weak links. This team has several weak links on their team. Katie and Sadie, Lindsay. Yeah, this team would be. I would expect this team to be screwed, but also you guys are gonna be surprised that I actually think they'd still win, because Duncan is asleep through this challenge, and he's probably their best player. While as on this team, I feel like both Courtney and Eva could hold their own, despite their less than stellar teammates. So I think that Courtney and Eva could do really well in this challenge, and without Duncan, it's either gonna be Duncan or Noah, because Noah fell asleep throughout, or Noah refused to participate, and Duncan was sleeping. I think though Duncan has more allies than Noah at this point. Noah and Owen. So I feel like Noah gets the boot, unfortunately. I love both those. I like both those characters. I like both Duncan and Noah, so that's a hard thing for me to boot either of them. But I think it makes sense. Alright. The talent show. This is a tough one. I think Gwen and Courtney are gonna do their hating thing like usual when Courtney demands to be in the talent show and like demands to be leader. Gwen's just gonna be annoyed and not have it. But I feel like Courtney's gonna be able to put herself, Heather, and Bridget in. And this team is gonna put Jeff, Trent, and Justin. So I think though. So who do I think is gonna win? Well, Heather reads Gwen's diary, and Courtney gets trampled by Bridget, and Bridget just does bad, so I feel like this team is fucked either way. I think they're all gonna vote Heather here. They would all vote Heather here, but Heather's gonna do her alliance thing. So she's, instead of Heather going for Lindsay and Beth, because Beth is gone, Heather's is gonna convince Katie and Sadie to join her alliance. And they're gonna be like, yeah, we're working with Heather, yeah! And Heather is going to see Eva as a really strong player and a really big threat, so she is gonna gun for Eva here. Even though Eva didn't screw up at all, she's gonna gun for Eva because Eva's skilled. She's gonna get Katie and Sadie. She's gonna get Izzy. And I feel like she could also convince Lindsay, despite them not being as close this season. So that's these five all voting for Eva. These five would all vote for Heather. But I feel like Heather could pull some strings to convince. She could I feel like to stop Heather would know it's a tie, and she'd blackmail Bridget. She'd blackmail Bridget because Bridget did the worst in the challenge. She'd be like, Bridget, and she'd probably say, Bridget, I overheard Eva and Courtney talking about voting you because you ruined the challenge. And Bridget would be like, oh no, and Heather'd be like, vote for Eva now, and either vote for Eva or vote for Courtney. So either way, she'd be getting Eva more votes, and Eva would go home. So Eva would do that blackmail on Bridget and have these four on our side, and Eva would go home, shocking everyone around. Okay. Now we are on to Sucky Outdoors, and we know Katie and Sadie do their thing where they run off and cause the defeat, and that would still happen here. I think that Courtney and Gwen would do their little beef banter thing here. I don't feel like Gwen would do the chainsaw and the hook story, but they'd still beef overall, over maybe Gwen not putting enough effort in, and Courtney and her getting mad, and Gwen being like, I just want to hang back, and Gwen just not liking Courtney's to hold to beat her. But overall, Katie and Sadie would still get lost, cost a challenge, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I think the boot would be different. I think that most of these people would actually vote to save Katie over Sadie, because Katie is more useful in challenges than Sadie. And I think that these people would see this, Heather would probably though find Katie more easy to manipulate than Sadie. Sadie more easy to manipulate than Katie. But overall, I feel like either of them could still get manipulated, and Heather and Sadie would have to go home here. So rip Sadie. So now these people move up to the next row. So phobia factor. Girls have one less, so Courtney's gonna compete twice. However, I feel like that the girls could. Courtney has her. Well, Courtney just gets triple points. That's what I remembered, right? And I think that on this team, Bridget and Courtney fail. Big time. And this team, Tyler, Duncan would fail without Courtney. DJ would fail without Courtney, and Tyler just fails in general. So these three all fail, and these two fail. And out of the people here, I don't think Ezekiel and Justin would do as well in the Face Your Fear. So I feel like girls got this victory this time, and I think that out of these ones, they'd boot Tyler. Lindsay'd be sad to see him go, but out of the people that lost, Tyler seems like I think that'd be their best bet. It's bullshit, like in a real show, because he's not the only one that failed, but also he's not as good. So I feel like these people, at least in my version, they'd like explain why they voted Tyler over the other people. Alright, RCMP. This challenge, it doesn't even matter who wins or loses. Izzy gets chasen off by the RCMP, and goodbye, Izzy. Goodbye to Izzy. Okay. Forest challenge. The thing is, I feel like Lashana still. Everyone on this team is still gonna shoot Heather. Literally, it doesn't matter. I feel like Lashana's gonna be like, let's shoot Heather, and everyone's just gonna shoot Heather. And so this team is just gonna be shooting Heather. And this team is just gonna be shooting Heather, and Cody gets mauled. But I feel like it doesn't matter. Their boys are still gonna win this challenge. So, out of these people, do I think Heather would go here? Honestly, I think that she could pull some strings. She could keep the blackmail and Bridget saying that she's gonna make Courtney hate her. She's gonna keep this whole season. I think I'm gonna have it so Heather's working with Sadie or Katie, and she's now blackmailing Bridget because she destroyed the piano, and she's like, I could make you pay for what you did to Courtney, pretending that she's like such good friends with Courtney without Courtney even knowing, and that she's gonna get Courtney to vote her off if Bridget does not do her bidding. And I think that Heather would force Bridget to vote for Lashana or be gone. Because Lashana ate her. Because Lashana kept shooting her. And Bridget would be like, okay, fine, I don't want to go, so I guess I have to. And Bridget would vote Lashana, because Heather would have this blackmail over her. And Heather, Bridget, and Katie, and I think also Lindsay now, would vote Lashana. These three are voting Heather, but unfortunately, Lashana's gone. So, kitchen challenge. I think, even though the girls are, like, failing because of Heather, the thing is, the guys are Owen literally eats all the food. And with Beth being, but Beth doesn't even matter if Beth is here with the Tikiki. That would not affect the girls at all. These guys are winning, and they are all voting Owen for eating the food. Yeah. Did I miss a challenge? Hold on. I don't know, but oh well. Okay, we're in 13, so it makes sense. Alright, so this challenge is the challenge where Yeah, this is the team up challenge, and I think the pairs are gonna be this team: Courtney and Katie, Heather and Gwen, Bridget and Lindsay. Duncan and DJ, or no, Jeff and DJ. I don't even think it matters. I know what's gonna happen. I feel like even if like Katie, I don't know. I feel like we don't. Would Katie still shoot Courtney's head like Sadie? I don't know, so I can't like say that. And I think that didn't Gwen and Heather win their challenge. I think that it doesn't matter too much because I feel like DJ takes off his blindfold and they say he caused the defeat for that, and they say that cost him the challenge. And I feel like this team would blame DJ for taking off his blindfold, even though it's partially Duncan's fault. And these four, despite this alliance, are voting DJ, and this alliance can't do anything about it. So DJ gets 13th place. Basic straining. All right. Now here's okay. Harold's not here to rig Courtney out, and also they're not even. She's not even on the same team as he would be to be a part of that. So Gwen and Courtney are gonna do their little thing here. Maybe I'll make them. I think they could be official here, like Gwen and Duncan. But also I think I think that Gwen and Courtney would be able to be official here. I need to think of how because I don't really know, but they would like be beefing this whole time, and then they'd do this thing where like Gwen and Courtney. I think Courtney would like help Gwen out after she got hurt, and they'd like see they're good for each other, and it would be kind of positive, and they'd kiss. And I think overall, what team would win? I think overall in basic training, I'm trying to think. Basic training, I feel like the girls could win that quite easily. I'm gonna be real. And I think that out of these six, they'd find Ezekiel the weakest, and they'd vote Ezekiel. Kind of a boring episode, but it's fine. Now this challenge. This challenge is tough, because I really do not think that, this challenge is tough. I think it's hard because of the fact that it's hard challenge to decide because it's just a challenge where they do like sports stuff. I think that Duncan did really bad though in this challenge. Did he not? Like Duncan cost the challenge really hard, even without. Although Harold also did. He's not here, and Harold did it way worse. So I don't really know. I think that out of these five, I feel like some of these people would be a detriment. Like Lindsay and Katie are definitely detriments to this challenge. Bridget is also because she's kind of clumsy. I think that I think that the guys would actually win. Now the girls, I think that Heather would know she's on the chopping block and she'd blackmail Bridget again, and she'd be like, Bridget, you're voting who I say, or I'm telling, or Courtney and I are gonna vote you off. And then Bridget would be like, what do I do? And Bridget has blackmail in court using Courtney for blackmail from the episode where Bridget broke her guitar, so she can't vote Courtney. But I think Bridget could get Gwen because she sees Gwen and Courtney have started dating and are like together in this episode and are being in love. So I think that Heather would see that and she'd convince them to vote Gwen for being a social threat because she needs Courtney for the blackmail still. So I think that would mean that Gwen gets eliminated. Unfortunate, but true. And now these 10 have all made the merge, which is kind of crazy. Some of these people you'd probably never expect to make merge, but I think that's some of these people I'd never expect to make merge, especially on an island. But we have to bring 2 people back. I don't see Chris uneven the genders. I don't think he did that originally. So I think that Chris is bringing back 1 boy, 1 girl. The girl, we're gonna go Izzy over Eva. I feel like Izzy brings more entertainment because Eva went first anyways. And over the guys, everyone loves Owen. I feel like but I don't know. They might bring back, we're just gonna bring back Harold, because Harold was in Eva's placement, and it could also provide the drama, because of the whole, he didn't get to show his mad skills yet, so he might try. He might try really hard. Alright. Now, in this challenge, who would win? I think that Courtney's really athletic, and without Lashana and Eva here, I feel like Courtney's gonna get the first win. Courtney's gonna win the challenge. She's gonna be like, that's for you, Gwen, babe, mwah. And Courtney's gonna win. And then Heather's gonna be like, oh, I can't get voted here. She's gonna do the blackmail emergency. Courtney's immune. If you don't vote with me, she and I will vote you. And Bridget's gonna be like, okay. And Lindsay and Katie, they're gonna get Izzy quite easily because Izzy's crazy. And Bridget. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are all gonna turn on and vote Justin for being a big social threat with his looks. Now, Courtney probably is gonna just vote Duncan because she probably hates him the most, although it's not even a ship reason. They're just rivals at this point in this series. These two are voting Heather. I'm just gonna say Courtney votes Duncan. I feel like that makes sense. She'd vote Duncan because she hates him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on Justin. Harold's also probably gonna vote Duncan, so 2 votes Duncan. 1, 2, 3, 4 on Heather, so Justin gets booted for being a social threat, and Justin gets 12th place. Now, 11th place. Heather can't do the whole kissing thing on people, so unfortunately she can't use that, but she still will. I think, though, that she would still, like, get Trent to be into her. Like, she would, like, use her charm, like, kind of like Alejandro does, to, like, convince Trent that he's great and everyone hates him, and to be into him, and they'd kiss him. She'd kiss him. So when Heather wins immunity, everyone would assume that Trent is dating Heather now. And they would just vote Trent because they'd assume he's dating Heather. And they'd find out that wasn't true, but it would be too late. And, and that would mean that Trent is gone. Because Trent also doesn't really have any allies. Okay. So, hide and seek. I think that Heather would win this challenge, and I know Lashana also wins, but I feel like without her here, I don't know if anyone else would be smart enough to do what Lashana did. Courtney, I could see trying it if she were here, but I don't really know if she would, so I'm not going to give her the win for something I don't know, like, is in her character. Because that's such a specific thing to do, it's hard to say. So I think Heather would just win. And I think that what would happen is Courtney would run in this episode. Courtney's gonna run into Bridget, and Bridget's gonna be like, Courtney and Bridget are gonna have a conversation, and Bridget's gonna realize that Heather has been lying about this blackmail. Courtney's gonna be like, what? Heather and I are not allied. There's no blackmail. And Bridget's gonna be like, that's what Heather said. That's why I've been voting people that she tells me to. And they're gonna realize, and Bridget's gonna turn on Heather. However, Heather wins immunity. And Courtney and Bridget are gonna be like, we're besties now. We're getting rid of Heather at all costs. But then Heather's gonna realize she'd lost her blackmail on Bridget, and therefore Bridget is useless. So Heather's gonna get anyone she can to vote Bridget. She's gonna be like, Bridget and I have been allies this whole time. She's been voting on the people with me. Why don't you guys vote Bridget? And they're like, okay. And Duncan is gonna be like, okay, and everyone else is gonna realize Heather's immune, and they really don't have much of a choice. And then, despite Courtney and Bridget becoming friends and planning to take down Heather, Bridget will get 10th place. Bridget's gonna go, and Courtney's gonna be like, don't worry, Bridget. I promise. At all costs, I'll take down Heather for you and Gwen. And Bridget's gonna be like, yes, you got this, Courtney. And Bridget's gonna go down. Okay. So, the bike race. Out of the people to wipe out in the first round and not compete, I think Izzy doesn't compete at all. Courtney is really bad at bike races we see in World Tours, so she would wipe out. Jeff wipes out in canon. I feel like Cody would also wipe out. Izzy doesn't compete. And then I think, yeah, Lindsay is out. Heather aren't as allied anymore for like the new bike building, so I feel like Lindsay just wipes out. And then these four compete, and these four would compete in the final challenge. But I think that Harold and Duncan would fight each other and wipe out. Heather would cross first, and Katie would cross second. And the same thing that happens to Lindsay and Cannon happens to Katie, and Katie gets ninth place. Now, and everyone is just like happy when Katie realizes and curses out Heather. Now Heather has no allies, but it's the scare challenge, so it doesn't even matter, and she can't get voted. Out of these 8, I feel like the person likely to get the most scared is without DJ here is unfortunately Lindsay. I'm so sorry, Lindsay, but you are getting 8th place. I feel like that makes sense. 7th. This is the challenge where Izzy and Heather shoot each other, and that happens. So I feel like that'd still happen, and Heather would get immunity, and everyone would vote Izzy because what other choice do they have? Izzy's crazy. And like in canon, Izzy would get 7th place. Izzy's eliminations are really self-explanatory for how crazy her character is, which is weird, so it's kind of like easy to eliminate her in these. I don't know. Like, she's probably the easiest character to eliminate because her eliminations are very self-explanatory for how crazy and random her character is in this. But anyways, oh, and she's up here. Alright. Next challenge. I'm gonna assign pairs. Heather and Cody, Harold and Duncan, Courtney and Jeff. I think out of these pairs, Heather and Cody are the only pair that's gonna be able to work well together. And so they're gonna just win the challenge. And I think everyone votes Jeff for being a nice person. And Jeff goes home. So Jeff gets 5th place. Or 6th place. Now, here is the challenge where... Here is the challenge where Lashana gets rigged out because of the parrot, but she's not here. The only thing I could see happening is Katie and Sadie would say Cody's name because Cody's the most likable one left, I feel like, to them. But also, I feel like we can't confirm that would happen, so we can't confirm who Katie and Sadie would like out of these 5. Like, they might like Courtney, but I also don't think I don't know if they would, so I'm not gonna say that. I think that the 5 of them would just, out of these ones eliminated, most of these people are saying Heather, and unfortunately that means Heather gets 5th place. Which I think is, I say unfortunately, because I think it's good overall. I hate that Lashana went in Final 5 with the loser vote, but also I would hate if Heather went loser vote because that's not a satisfying conclusion for her. Like, it's not really maybe it is to you guys, but it's not really a satisfying conclusion for me to her as a villain. I feel like she deserves to get taken down by people in the game. That's why her elimination canon is perfect, but oh well. So, now it's the challenge where I think what would happen is Courtney and Cody and Duncan and Duncan and Harold. I think what Heather does to make Duncan hate her, Courtney would be able to do because Duncan probably hates her but also likes her and knows she's with Gwen but probably doesn't care as much. And Courtney would do that manipulation that she did on Duncan. That Heather did on Duncan on herself, and Cody and Courtney would win this challenge, and I think that everyone's gonna vote Duncan for being the bigger threat, and so Duncan gets 4th place. Alright, final 2. Out of these three, I mean, who would be the most likely to lose in the Dare challenge? I honestly think in the Dare challenge that Cody's the most likely to lose. I'm gonna be honest. I think he's the most likely to lose. And that would mean I think that makes the most sense. And so Cody would lose and get third place because I feel like he's the least likely to be motivated and be able to complete these dares. Courtney got motivated by Gwen probably to do well, so, and win it for her, so I feel like Courtney could fight her embarrassment of doing these things on TV to win. And so it's final two, Courtney and Harold. I know you guys are going to call me biased because Courtney's in the finale again, and yes, I admit I am. And also, it is kind of sucks that Harold got voted out second and then came back to be in the literal finale. I don't know how you guys will feel about that. But I think that's fine. And overall, I'm going to be giving the canon win to Courtney and the alternate win to Harold. I'm sorry, kind of, but I think it makes sense. And overall, that's the way. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe, comment below, and let me know what your thoughts are. If you enjoyed, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!